Second piece of good news is that WSA is making Unit 304 available for apartment residents who are displaced during the construction. That has been a long, tough battle, I will tell you. But that way, we are not sending people over to the King and the Bear. So that is, that's a wonderful thing. When you see Debbie, let her know you appreciate her efforts on our behalf in that, because that was not an easy thing for them. It is a house, by the way, for those maybe newcomers. 304 is on Loudon? Yeah. So it's a house. It will be furnished. So the apartment dwellers can move there, live there, and then move back to their apartment. So that's a really good thing. What's that? Mignon said it's big, big, big. So, okay. And something I never do, and I'm going to do at this meeting, is a couple of kudos for some of the people who are doing things on your behalf. First is to recognize Lady Vice President, who is also chairman of the Health Services Committee. They have created an educational schedule of 4 or 5 different lecturers. The first one was yesterday on dementia. Westminster has picked that up and are continuing that series, but it's a really good educational series for people in my age group, maybe not yours, I don't know. In any case, that will be ongoing, so keep an eye out for those announcements. The second one is our Flower Committee, who gets almost no recognition, unfortunately, which is my fault. They're the ones that get together, they buy, they arrange, and they put out the fresh flowers throughout the clubhouse, cafe, dining room, and I don't know if they do it in the reception area, but let's give them a hand. Who are they? Oh, that's a good idea. Anybody on the Flower Committee stand up? Come on, there's a bunch of them. Come on. Oh, there's one. There are probably, thank you, Diane. There are probably, what, 15 people that work? Some, they alternate weeks and so on and so forth. So that's just really nice. And the last one I want to mention, who has been recognized before, but all of your graphic notices, graphic announcements, many of the graphic billboards and things are done by our past Vice President. And I will tell you, Noel works almost more than a full-time job doing that stuff. And it is, I've seen the stuff from the other communities, and our stuff is top-notch. But it should be. That was her profession. So thank you, Noel. All right. Okay. Let us begin our call to order, and I've started the announcements already, so let's go to our treasurer, Mr. John Aluski.
Good afternoon. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on this. We're now projecting the report on the board. I do attach a copy of the treasurer report. Not up there?
No.
Well, it's not up there. Forget I said that.
It's on at 316. You want to go see it at my house?
I do post a copy of the treasurer's report each month on the bulletin board. And of course, when Jane puts together the report of this meeting, it's also published in My W Life. First thing I'd like to report today is the election was held with a forecasted budget for the coming year, and it carried 133 yes and 2 no's. I wanted to put a little ad in for what's going on with this. As you've seen in the reports, we have carried forward some surplus in the operating budget. This has accumulated over several years because we are working with a forecast, and it's not exact numbers. And we've elected to keep that operating surplus because it picks up the gaps when we have had shortages. An example for the last 2 years is when we give the Employee Appreciation Fund checks out, we give each employee a pie. That used to be done as a dinner. The council picks up half the cost of those pies, splits those with Westminster St. Augustine. That was an expense that we had not done in the past. Now, you will see that get reflected in an item called admin. That's kind of a catch-all when we run over and have to dip into the extra funds. We are now starting our new year, April the 1st. We're asking if you voluntarily contribute $30 per resident to the operating fund budget. And we appreciate that when you do it. And we try to be good stewards of that money. And all that money is designed to go to things that support things that are of interest to you, the residents. Respectfully submitted.
Thanks, John. We call it a membership, but it's really a voluntary contribution that funds everything from the pies to play readers to, I don't think we pay for the flowers. No, Westminster pays for the flowers. Bookmobile, we make a donation to the EMTs locally. But it's broken down, it'll be on the bulletin board. So if you have questions, if you have any specific questions, feel free to call John or call me. We'll be glad to answer them. As you know, the council meets for lunch and business before this meeting. One item of business we voted on this time was a proposal from the scholarship committee to reduce the waiting period for college scholarship grants from 6 months to 3 months. So employees have had to wait 6 months before they could request a scholarship. We've got lots of money and have not been given out hardly any scholarships. And so the committee has recommended that we reduce that waiting period from 6 months to 3 months, which is a benefit, obviously, to the students, and hopefully it will help our employment numbers. In any case, John, that was a great suggestion. It was a unanimous vote, and all ahead full. The question, yeah.
Do they know at the high schools that we're giving scholarships?
Yes, yes, they do, and we're using it to recruit. And actually, I think almost all of our new servers are coming from the new Decoy Creek High School. At least 3 or 4 of them are that I've talked to. I don't know about all, but yeah, so I think it will be successful. There's a new bartender, she's in college, so I imagine she's gonna take advantage of it, I would hope, so. Good deal. All right, budget vote. Let's go ahead and start with committee reports. And leading off was John Aluski, and second is the wounded John Batza with scholarship.
Thank you. For those of you who wonder, let me give you a piece of friendly advice. 2 Creeks can get a little crazy at 1 a.m. in the morning. No, and on a note on safety, it is assumed that I tripped on a rug in my kitchen and did a header into the countertop. And went to the hospital, and luckily, I'm great. Thanks to my neighbors. We're very helpful. I would ask for one other quick indulgence. I want to thank all of members, council, and staff who have reached out to me and to Karen during a time of tough times. But it's greatly appreciated and warms my heart. It's, there's a political slogan that went something like this: it's the economy, stupid. Some of you are old enough to remember that. Right? Wrong. It's your friends. It's your community. And again, I thank you. Scholarship Committee Monthly Report. Our meeting was held on March 16th at 10 a.m. in the private dining room without lunch or breakfast. Chuck Blake reported that the fund received $324 of new donations, bringing our total fund balance to $98,000 plus some change. There were no distributions for last month. Sharon Piety Noel reviewed the Resident Council's draft proposal for committee reform, which should hopefully be finalized in April-May timeframe. That'll be exciting, different. The change in the scholarship waiting period is for this year only. So it'd be for the summer semester and the fall semester. And then we'll review it again. We'll see what it draws. The committee charged three members with the responsibility of contacting the supervisory staff, reminding them of the value and the procedures of the team member scholarship program. They've been doing a pretty good job, but we want to do two things with that. We want to get members of the committee involved in the management of the organization. That's only going to be helpful. And we wanted to remind the staff members. Pursuant to that, Debbie asked if we would do a presentation at her next staff meeting, which is next week. So we'll take 10 or 15 minutes so the entire staff gets the understanding. The committee unanimously moved to recommend the changing of the waiting period, and the council was kind enough to accept that recommendation and approve it. We are waiting for the Jack Greenberg Award plaque to be finished so that it can be presented at the next council meeting. It's been a while since we've had a winner of that award. It is given to a former scholar who pursues a career in medicine or healthcare. And that's in honor of Jack's tremendous contribution to the scholarship program and leadership in the scholarship area. So we'll have a presentation next week. There being no further business, the meeting was adjourned in 10:55, so a 55-minute meeting.
Thanks, John. Was there a point in that 55-minute thing? He said yes. I got it. All right, next up is the dining committee, Steve Russell.
The dining committee met with Rocco in the dining room last Wednesday for 45 minutes. Our first order of business was the introduction of our new member, Ann Racy, who will represent the interests of those in the health center. We commended the staff on the outstanding Valentine's Day dinner, and many also thought that the new menu was an improvement over the past one. Our two main suggestions to Rocco were that a recycle bin be placed in the cafe, and that diners, whether in the dining room or ordering from home, be informed of any substitutions that were going to be made to their order. A new bartender, as you know, started last Thursday and will be available from 4:30 to 8:30. After she settles in, a new bar drink menu will be published, and in time, pre-dinner appetizers may also become available. An additional cook and dishwasher are still needed. A new baker was offered a position but has since declined. Several new servers have started. Rocco is still interviewing for a baker, additional servers, and he has several promising resumes for the dining room manager position. As Bob indicated, as staffing improves and without a resurgence of COVID, the dining room hopes to reopen to guests within the next month or so. At the same time, Rocco and David request that residents keep to their reserved times. The whole purpose of reservations is to space out people, and when people arrive 10 minutes late for their reservation, it sort of defeats the purpose. A new ice cream freezer has been installed in the cafe and should be fully stocked in the coming days. Finally, a flyer will be sent out the first of the month with special dining and bar events for the month of April. Respectfully submitted, Steve Russell.
Thanks, Steve. Next up is Health Services, Sharon Piney-Noel.
Thank you, President Bowen. The Health Services Committee met on March 9th at 1:30, and we report each month on the COVID data for St. Johns County. I'm very happy to report that the positivity rate as of the 20th of this month is 1.7%.
Yes.
No cases per 100,000. And as Debbie announced to us today, there have been no cases on campus since the middle of February, which is why we're seeing the opening of the campus, which is wonderful. We acknowledge the retirement of one of our members, Betty Chisholm, and we thank her very much for the years that she worked on the Health Services Committee, and we will miss her. We also welcome Beth Lehman back to our committee. She'll be joining us next month. We reviewed the revised mission that the council gave us, and that is stated now, to support all residents and staff in maintaining and improving physical, mental, and emotional health services for the Westminster St. Augustine community. Our 3 goals for this year are to support the establishment of the Memory Center and the Health Center, to work on improving the transition processes that we all face as we move from one level of care to another, and to support the educational programs that we'll be providing for this year. I want to emphasize that we are very excited that Paula Vail has picked up our educational effort, and she will be organizing the sessions as she did yesterday with the dementia session. Next month in April, there will be a follow-up to the session on dementia with some extension of that with Nancy Melito, and Christy Williams, our therapy manager, will join her and talk about the different kinds of therapies that can be used with dementia. And then in May, Paula will be inviting Bradley Roberts from the University of Florida Proton Institute to talk on proton radiation therapy, which was recommended by Howard Crum. We appreciate his input on that. So we're really excited that Paula has picked up this effort, and we think it'll be great to have these monthly sessions. I'd like to thank the members on our committee that are doing so much volunteer work related mostly to the Health Center. I want to thank Reed Coring and Dave Whittington for refurbishing the shepherd's hooks. They were in pretty bad shape, rusted. They sanded them and painted them all. They look brand new and they're back up. I want to thank Bev Moran and Brenda Sensis for all the work they do with the plants and the bird feeders and the vistas around the health center. Bill Smith and Lloyd and Jane Blocker, Lloyd Umbarger, Jane Blocker, Margaret Kiefer, Sandra Brookmeyer, Ginger Naraki, and Lucy Williamson for helping with the library hour and the bingo activities and other activities at the health center. I encourage all of you to consider volunteering over there, because it's not only helpful for the residents there, but it's helpful for you to begin to understand what the health center is like and how it's set up and how it operates. And it's a joy each time we go, right, Jane? Okay. Misty, our new health administrator, has come in, as Bob said, doing very well. She now has a link on MyWLife under Health Center, and Paula Vale also has a link. So if you'll go there, you'll find information that has been posted from their town hall presentations, and from time to time, other information. And this latest presentation on dementia, which was a very lengthy PowerPoint, is posted there. And it's very informative, so I encourage you to go on MyWLife and look at that. I do want to clarify about the memory center that's being developed. Sometimes when people tell us something new is coming on campus, we get a very grandiose idea of what it's going to be like. And one of our jobs as a health center committee, health services committee, is to help you have realistic expectations for what's offered here. We have a standard license at the health center. That is the lowest of 3 levels of possible licenses that you can have for assisted living with a memory unit. So that means that we will only be offering what can be offered in a standard license. That is why there will be people in the future who will need services in memory care beyond that, and will have to look at other facilities. Nancy Melito, the social worker, helps a great deal in that process, and so does Paula. The SARA system. Last meeting, we were asked to look again at why we couldn't have a facility in our SARA system bracelets or necklaces that would report falls. Paula did look into that, and she found out that our company cannot add it. So she has asked Jonathan to investigate a different company that will have that service. And we were waiting for Jonathan to come back with a report on what company he has found. And the last thing is that any person who needs support in finding services that are not on this campus, please reach out to Paula Vale and Nancy Melito, our social worker. Respectfully submitted, Sharon Hyde Noel.
Thank you, Madam Vice President.
I have a question. Is there any consideration of upping this license so we have better coverage? Since we all thought we did,
Right.
you know,
Yes, we did.
My understanding is that no Westminster property has anything above a standard license. There are only 4 facilities in the geographic area that even offer the higher licenses. No one in the close proximity does. It's very, very expensive to offer the higher licenses.
are all of the other CCRCs like Vickers Landing, they're the same, they're this low?
Yeah, and what I would say is we're not going to stop asking for more service. We're going to continue to work towards more service. However, realistically, any dramatic increase, and it's a dramatic increase, would be dramatic increases on our expenses too. So it's a balancing act.
Why, is Mike having some issues?
Yes.
Yeah, my man, what do you expect? I've spent the last 2.5 months, I think I've been to every memory care provider,
Hey, John?
maybe in the world.
It's being recorded, so
I've spent the last 2.5 months exploring memory care facilities, and it is very rare to find anybody with an expanded license. And the ones that do have expanded license have it for a reason. They're falling apart. There's one that I looked at that I was impressed with the services, and then as I began to explore the physical plan, it wasn't a place that Karen was going to be terribly happy. So it must be very expensive to get it done, but there aren't very many that have it.
It requires a lot more staffing and nursing staff.
That's true, it's nursing, skilled nursing staff.
Bob, does what we have with the standard license provide 99% of the care we need here? It's typical?
I would say the answer to that is yes, because over the years, they've told me that there have only been 4 cases where they could not accommodate them, and they work with those cases to find another location. The issue is in assisted living, you don't have to have very much nursing care. I think it's an hour a day. The rest of it is staff. So to go up to that level that you need in terms of 24/7 monitoring of memory difficulties, it's very expensive.
In addition to the staffing, how about facilities?
I tell you what, could we wait and do questions at the end so I can pass the microphone around? And the reason for that is we have been recording all the sessions so that those that can't attend can look at it later. And I apologize for letting questions get out of hand. My fault. Yes, it's your fault. But you can shoulder it, I know that. So, anyway, I'm sorry to cut you off, but we'll do it, just save the question, we'll do it at the end. Next up is maintenance, Gary Livingston.
Okay, maintenance committee, we actually met yesterday. Usually we're 2 weeks before the meeting, so a lot has changed, but we met yesterday. Mike Hoffecker was not with us, he chose to play golf. But you're missed. All right. Troy was also not available. She was on vacation, so we don't have a housekeeping report. We began with the apartment work, which is obviously ongoing. If you look out this window, you can see one unit that has window stickers on it. That's the unit that has the mock-up windows in it. Those are the new windows that are going into building 4. All those windows are on site right now. The one window that's been put in that has to cure for 28 days before they do what they call a chamber test, which is a water pressure test on the ceiling. Once it passes that, then they'll put the rest of the windows in. The windows for buildings 1, 2, and 3 are all on order and expected to be here in May. So those are moving along. The 28-day waiting is on the ceiling test, not the window test. The windows we know will pass, but they want to make sure the ceiling is doing what it's supposed to do, so we don't have continuing water issues. The signage, you can see signs are starting to appear in different places every day. Actually, a couple were put in yesterday. We still don't have most of the street signs, but they're coming. Did a nice job on them. They all look good, and I think it's a big improvement. Water leaks have been identified in a couple of places behind Balmora, between the health center and Balmora. They think they detected what's causing some of the drainage problems, so HD Turf is going to investigate and take corrective action if that's what it is. Hopefully that's what it is. There's also some other leaks have been found, some actually in water hydrant areas, and Johnson Controls has been contacted to get those under control, but they're having a tough time getting people to come out of here. So we have big supply issue problems and people problems, labor problems. The gemstone, we're waiting for gemstone to be installed in the front entranceway here and over in the health center, around the pool deck. The order's been placed and just waiting for people to be available to do it. So everybody's going through the same kind of issues we are. Access control system is being installed at the health center in support of the memory unit. Just another step of what it has to be done to get to that next level, and that's being done. Bids are being solicited for the nurse call system, which is a replacement for the system they have there now. Green Mile, the question was asked about the sodding of the Green Mile. There's some pretty bad looking turf out there in a few areas. That's in this year's capital budget request, which hasn't been approved yet. The year begins April 1st, and that capital budget hasn't been approved yet. if it gets approved and that item is approved, we'll start doing some sodding out there, get the green mile cleaned up a little bit. Won't know for another week or so. As reported last month, we're still waiting for furniture to be delivered for clubhouse, for the health center. It's been on order for a couple of months. And the pool, as you know, has been temporarily closed. We've got some critter issues. We're not sure if it's a possum or a raccoon, but somebody's decided that's their bathroom area.
It is a possum, he was caught on camera.
Well, they didn't catch the possum on camera, but they also think it may be a raccoon that's been spotted. That's not definite.
Are they intermingled?
So anyway, they had to shock and close the pool 3 times in a week. It's very expensive to backflush and shock, and so they just shut it down for a little while until they could capture their critter. So that's the story. That's it for maintenance. Respectfully submitted.
Thanks, Gary. One update is that the final budget has been approved by Orlando, and Debbie is supposed to get that Thursday morning, I think she told us at our lunch meeting. So we'll know within a week what it is they're gonna finance for the future. All right, where are we here? Mr. Redwine, are you nearby? Marketing.
Nearby. Good afternoon. Just a follow-up there for Gary's report. If you go in the pool, keep your mouth shut and your eyes closed.
Is that what they taught you in the Marines?
Told me to keep my head low and my derriere low. Marketing committee. We met last Monday. Had a good meeting. We had a few folks absent. Fritz was absent, but that was because he was interviewing some new folks coming in, talking to some new folks coming in, but we carried on. The official marketing report that was submitted to Orlando last week showed that our residential living occupancy for both occupied and reserved was at 99%. However, the one unit that was available as of last week's report is now reserved. So WSA will be reporting 100% occupied and reserved on this week's report. Additionally, you heard Bob mention that one unit has pretty much been taken out of inventory. That's a home on Loudon, and that's a good thing because that will allow the folks that are having to be inconvenienced to be on campus, to be with their friends, close to their activities, etc. So that's a great thing. Assisted living is 79% occupied, and the health center is 73% occupied. Add all those numbers together, and we are occupied and reserved stands at 93%. You know, some of you have heard of Saturday Night Live character Rosanna Dano. Well, you know, she said, what is it about these numbers? They're always going up and they're always going down. Nobody ever understands these numbers. What is it about these numbers? They change. Every month, every week, they change. And our waiting list has changed. We're up to 69 interested parties. And in fact, Fritz just told me day before yesterday, that there's now 70 people on there. So that's a great thing. An interesting observation about what type of accommodation the people on the waiting list are wanting. They want an independent home. They're asking for an independent home 2.5 times more often than they are for apartments. Currently on campus, we have 89 homes and 70 apartments. 159 total accommodations for independent living. The marketing event that was held on March 10th in Crichton Hall was a success, with 22 people attending. The Ask the Experts theme proved to be very popular with the attendees, asking many questions. And most important, several people joined the waiting list before leaving. That's what I referred to earlier. The luncheon that followed the event was very representative of a normal WSA dining experience. Food quality, meal presentation, and service were all excellent, and many positive comments were made by the attendees, and not one person asked, "How's the food?" So kudos to Rocco and all his staff who helped this event be a success. There are more marketing events planned in April and May and beyond, so it is realistic to expect that the waiting list may contain more than 100 names before the end of the year. More than 100. And finally, soon, we will have blueprints, floor plans, and artist renditions of Westminster Orlando's depiction of what the new campus accommodations will look like. This will energize the marketing process and create more excitement for potential residents, as they will be better able to visualize themselves living in their new home in Westminster, St. Augustine. Thank you. Respectfully submitted.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks a lot. I'm going to interject a couple of other announcements. As you've heard from a number of reports, the committee mission statements were finished, and actually the council voted on them today. And each committee has what we think is a pretty succinct guide, and they were all developed with the committee members, and it's part of Sharon's process of kind of standardizing our approach and identifying the committee's missions. So thank you, Madam Vice President, and it's going well. Are there any new residents that have not been to this meeting before that are here today? Raise your hands, please. Come on, don't be shy, stand up. Stand up. There you go. Ian and Maureen, welcome. I've met you before, but we're glad you came. Thank you. A note on staffing and what Westminster is doing to help our staffing. There is a 2% share for retirement programs for our long-term staff members. They have increased that to a 3% share, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when you're going to work in a place a long time, that will certainly add up. And that's one of the moves that Westminster Corporate is taking to try and retain good people. Matching, yeah, I'm sorry, it's 3% matching, yes. Another announcement is I have gotten a proposal from Fred Jackson for the foundation to participate presentation-wise in these meetings. It was discussed today at our council meeting, and I'm meeting with the ambassadors, Fred and Tawny, this Thursday afternoon to discuss that very issue, just for general information. It was discussed, and we're going to discuss it again Thursday. We'll talk about it there. And you'll be there. Yeah. All righty, who is next? Play readers, Kathy Vanderberg.
The Play Readers Committee is very pleased to report that our performances in the new year have been enjoyed by banner large crowds in Crichton Hall. And I want to thank you all for being supportive of Play Readers and for coming. Some people even come twice. I can't believe that. But it's really wonderful because the cast and directors and props and scenery people work very hard, and so it's really nice to have the applause of the audience and the nice comments afterwards, so thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
The January performances were directed by Jane Blocker, February by Kathleen Vandenberg, and March by Bruce Darnell. We would like to express our gratitude to Bruce for joining our directing team and producing a great show this month. I think everyone enjoyed it. The April productions of Lawyer, Lawyer, and Don't Bank on It will be directed by Steve Rossi and will be rescheduled to the fourth weekend instead of the third weekend because of the observance of Good Friday and its Easter weekend on the third. And so we're moving it to the fourth. Jane Blocker will direct our season closer in May, and we will not be presenting play readers during June, July, and August. We will strike up again in September. We are very grateful to the residents and to the council for approving our budget for this year. For many years, we have not always paid our fair share of royalties, or we have had members and residents here using money from their own pockets to look at plays, to read plays, to buy set materials and props. And we really had no idea how much the Play Readers program was costing and what we needed as a budget. So we're trying this year to be really business-like about everything and make sure that we're staying within our budget, but also that we are being honest and that we are also not burdening our own members and residents. The Play Readers Committee is now comprised of directors Jane Blocker, Bruce Darnell, and Steve Russi, Sets and Props Chair Lynn Sumner, and Technical Director Mike Hofecker. Thank you, respectfully submitted.
Thanks a lot, Kathy. And Kathy Charlton, Social Committee.
Good afternoon. There's always a lot going on for the Social Committee, so here we go. The theme for April is rejuvenation, if I can say it. So come to the activities room on April 5th for a rejuvenation station. Enjoy hot tea and small treats. If you want, make a personalized body scrub with essential oils. That same day, attend an afternoon piano concert with a new performer, Solomon Eichner. And another day, come to hear the Beaux Art Chamber Ensemble featuring Dr. Catherine Land. For something different, listen to energetic bluegrass music played outside by the pool. Let's hope it's a nice day. Chairs will be set up for viewing. The popular One Day University video series is back, and there are 3 new performances. An Earth Day celebration will feature tree planting and a butterfly garden ceremony. It will happen in the park near Loudon and the hydroponic garden. Please take note that for all off-campus excursions, you must sign up. An outing not to be missed will be to the Princess Place Reserve in Palm Coast, a site that is on the National Register of Historical Places. It will be followed by a picnic with boxed lunches. We will also go to the Cathedral Basilica for a behind-the-scenes tour of the oldest Catholic church in St. Augustine. Another fun outing will be to go to the Dolphin Wildlife Historical Boat Tour, followed by lunch, and add that to a trip to the famous Fountain of Youth, and again followed by lunch. As you can see, we love to go to lunch. But we also like to go to dinner. And there are 2 dates for the dinner outing that will be to the upscale Blackstone restaurant in Julian Creek. Remember, all monthly activities, including ongoing events that I haven't had the time to mention, will be explained in detail in the Explorer and on My W Life. So, let's get up and get out and be rejuvenated in April. Respectfully, Kathy Charlton.
Thanks, Kathy. Kathy has recently retaken up pickleball. And we missed you Sunday. Yeah, anybody interested in pickleball, Sunday afternoons at 4, we're playing out at the Northeast Regional Park, which is right down just this side of the high school. It's a low-key, more of an activity than a competition, but it's a good group of active people. We've had 10 to 12 people showing up every Sunday now for 4 Sundays. So if you're interested, either contact Chuck Lake or myself. We can provide equipment if anybody's interested. That was a cheap plug. Next is social justice, Mignon Williams.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. I will tell you, if you were not here on the 16th of March, you missed a fabulous session. We had, as I mentioned to you previously, for the past 4 months, have had a series regarding the legality, legal affairs, criminal justice in America. And we concluded this month's session with a local lawyer, appropriately for Women's History Month. The lawyer was Chris Moser. She is a law professor at Flagler College, as well as a representative of a law firm here. And what she was able to do in this 4th session was to really bring down the whole issue of criminal justice as it relates to Flagler and Duval County. What she did as well was to talk about the rapport and relationships between Hardwick, who was here the month before, and the work that she does in terms of working with her defendants, and to show the cooperation that the criminal system has with the legal system here, particularly in our county. So it was a very worthwhile situation, and I know there were some enlightened comments that came about at that meeting, and Bob, could you share with us a second about one of your comments, please?
Well, I will say that the sessions having a defense attorney and the county sheriff on the same team was kind of interesting. And the whole series that Sharon and Mignon have put together of speakers has been incredibly educational and eye-opening, about some of the problems in our legal system, as well as some of the solutions. And between Chris and the sheriff, they are developing some really positive solutions other than just throwing people in jail. I would recommend anybody keep an eye out for the social justice invited speakers, because to an individual, the last 4 have been outstanding and educational. And so please come and support those hearings. And we're getting a good turnout, but I think everybody in this room could learn something from the speakers that they're inviting. Thanks.
Thank you. And now, since he is here today, I'd like to thank Les Lehman, because he was a strong part of making sure that we had those speakers. And so thank you very much for getting Hardwick and Namir. So thank you.
If you want to know anybody in St. Augustine, just talk to us.
That's very, very true. Very, very true. And his commitment to social justice. So it's been absolutely wonderful. I'd like to move on and also mention a topic that Chris talked about, and that's something we've heard in the news quite often, and that's this whole notion of the definition of critical race theory. And she gave it awesome, from her perspective as a lawyer, of course, the definition of critical race theory. So in the minutes and in the notes, hopefully you will see a YouTube link where you can go and get an understanding of what the definition is of critical race theory and form your opinions, therefore, on that one. Next. We, again, will continue having speakers here in the House coming in May, not in April, we will have Cindy Stevenson here. You might know her name politically.
Yeah.
Okay, so she will be here. And next month, in April, we will be encapsulating some of the work from the criminal justice series in a very interactive session. And that will be on, for our session in April. Last and certainly not least, as Bob has mentioned and Sharon has led, there will be some changes to the purpose and mission of some of the committees. Social justice will be changing slightly their mission, and what we would like to do is to invite new members to come and participate and help us develop programs, initiatives, as well as to ascertain issues that affect us not only here at Westminster, but in our surrounding communities. Respectfully submitted, Vivian Williams.
Thank you. All right, that is it for committee nope. Did I miss one? Oh my goodness. It's why I keep her around. I'm sorry, Lynn. Welcoming committee, Lynn Sumner. I can't believe I skipped that.
Enjoy Genesis a little bit. Hello. Lynn opened the meeting on March 16th and thanked Cassie Kistel for accepting the position of secretary for our welcoming committee. Our new mission statement was read, which is to sponsor, welcome, and transition our new residents during both pre- and post-arrival to support a quality move-in process and positive involvement in the WSA community. We reviewed the revision of the committee guidelines. The various committees could each decide on how often they should meet, be it monthly or every 2 months. The welcoming committee will be meeting every 2 months. The guidelines to welcome new residents were reviewed, including personal information, the welcome booklet, delivering of the cookies, and reviewing My W Life and the helpful information it provides. Lynn introduced the new, updated version of the Westminster St. Augustine Welcome Booklet. It was designed to hold all the information needed to help transition our new residents into the community. This includes the resident directory, local and area maps, and a set of note cards designed by the residents. I want to thank Julie Funke, Marketing, Holly Cabuto, Lifestyle Facilitator, Tani Alliance, Westminster St. Augustine Foundation for sponsoring the 3-ring banner, and numerous others for their help in creating this booklet. We're so proud of this.
Is there one of those available at Julie's desk for people to look at?
It can maybe,
You
yes.
know, if you haven't seen that new book, stop in and see Julie and ask her to look at that. I wish that had been here when we moved in. It's really a great achievement. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
Julie's the new marketing assistant.
You are.
Aren't you on the marketing
Anyway, we reviewed the new resident listing move-in status, and that comes from marketing. And the driveway and the apartment parties continue to be a huge success, and that's to welcome new residents as well. Our next committee meeting will be May 11th at 10:00 a.m. Respectively submitted, Lynn Sumner. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Lynn. That book was a big job, and the committee and Lynn and Julie really did a great job. Now I think we're moving on to the last speaker of a committee, Mr. Mike Hoffaker. Flaker.
I don't actually have a committee.
He's a committee of two. There are two of you. Come on.
Thank you, Bob. A lot of you are familiar with FLICRA. A lot of the new people are not. FLICRA is the Florida Life Care Resident Association, all the residents of CCRCs. They have a mission statement that Says basically, FLICRA is here to promote and protect the rights of residents who live in CCRCs within Florida. This last legislative session proves how they've been working on our behalf. That legislative session ended on March 11th. And in that session, there were 3 bills of significance that were supported by FLICRA. The first one had to do with nursing home visitation rights. We know how we've been cut off from the visitation of the healthcare center through the COVID epidemic. Well, what they've tried to do in the legislature is they've tried to come up with a bill that provides, well, one of them is No Patient Left Alone Act. And then the others are setting up the criteria for which the nursing homes have to provide visitation rights. And that has to do with some of the things that have been going on around here where COVID testing, masks, whatever the necessary prohibits are from keeping people out of the facility. Additionally, they provided for a designated power of attorney for those who are not closely related to the person in the health center to be able to make arrangements to be able to check on their physical condition and so forth. And they are also allowed 2 hours every day, which has not been in the past. The next bill that they promoted, and by the way, all of you should have had a copy of this document, which is the first quarter newsletter from FLICRA, in your cubby this last week. Hopefully most of you were able to read it. Some of you said, jump, throw it away. If you would like to see it, there's one that's posted on the bulletin board. The next law that they were looking at was the long-term care providers. Anyway, liability protection. One of the problems that the nursing homes are having was their susceptibility to lawsuits because of COVID. And what has happened is now the Florida legislature has taken the position that they need to help protect the liability positions of the nursing homes against frivolous lawsuits. So that is now a bill that has been gone through the state legislature. And the last one that of any significance has to do with the amount of time that the nurses, the CNAs, and all the professional staff in nursing homes provide to the individuals who are staying there, the residents of the health center. You got it? Okay. Anyway, reporting previously had been on a weekly basis, and there was a limit of time that they needed to spend with each patient, reported weekly. They decided that that was inefficient, so they have changed the reporting to monthly. However, it comes to 3.5 hours a day as a minimum that the person in the health center will have personal contact with either a skilled nurse, a CNA, or one of their assistants. And that's about it on that. Now, I'd like to also reiterate what Bob said earlier about April 1st is the beginning of the new fiscal year for the council. One of the benefits of being a new resident of Westminster is that the council will pay for the first year membership excuse me, of new residents who join the resident council. And so if there are a couple, that saves you $37 a year. Anyway, and then that takes my FLICRA report. Now I do have 2 other hats to put on. The second hat is the hydroponic garden. It is now equipped with plants that are growing very nicely. I've still got a few plants I'm looking for, like celery and so forth. So if you, in your travels, come across any little shoots of celery, buy them and I'll pay you back. Anyway, the way that the hydroponic works, if you're not familiar, is the vegetables and the herbs that are growing there are available to all residents. It is a community garden. We have a tote underneath the table that's got some shears in there that you can cut off. And there's a sign that tells you how to cut from the plant so you don't destroy the plant. And you are welcome to take as much as you need, but don't take any more than you need. And it's also, if you would like to donate to the hydroponic fund, which pays for the nutrients and the additional plants, you can provide check or cash to the council box in the mail room designated to the hydroponic garden, and they'll put it into an account within the council that is dedicated to the garden. The third hat, as the technical director for the play readers, I have an invitation to anybody who is interested in learning how to operate the sound system and the video system, and I will train. No experience necessary.
Would you restate the amount that FLICRA charges a year per person, per couple,
Oh, I will, thank you. The annual fees for FLICRA, and it's based upon an annual basis, not on a calendar. I said that just backwards. It's based on your calendar. Your renewal date falls on the anniversary of your date. If you are a couple, it's $37 for the year. If you are single, it is $22 for the year. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Paying for FLICRA is a shameless way to get you to join the Residents Council, just in case anybody's interested. It is a bargain. In any case, I think that's the last committee report, right? I know. In any case, so we will throw the floor open to questions, and Lee had a question.
I guess my question is.
Wait, let's get your mic, please. And please state your name and unit number.
This is Lee McLaurin, 2210. Isn't memory care synonymous with Alzheimer's or not?
No. Not these, I mean, Alzheimer's is a part of memory care, but it's not synonymous. I mean, there are many other levels of memory care besides that.
Okay, can you differentiate between what we have here considered memory care relative to Alzheimer's?
Sure. Alzheimer's is one type of dementia.
Okay.
So dementia is an umbrella category for all memory problems. And if you'll go on that MyWLife PowerPoint that's just been uploaded under Health Center, it has a lengthy description of the 7 stages of dementia. Really, our program could handle any of those if they meet certain conditions. And that's the issue. It's not the type of memory problem you have, it's what you require in terms of service. We do not serve residents in this health center who have acting out volatile behavior. We don't serve residents that need 24/7 nursing care for a memory unit. Those are above our standard license.
All right, then what does memory care entail?
What is it?
What does memory care entail?
Well, they are training the staff to use the Lotus program, and they are training staff to be able to provide activities that will keep the memory resident engaged on an ongoing basis during the day. It entails some nursing support, but it's limited. It entails medication monitoring, and it really just provides a safe place that they can't leave without anyone knowing it. It's secure. So that's why they've installed the technology over there.
Okay, what is the Lotus program?
I don't know the details of the Lotus program,
Okay.
but we're going to have a presentation on that at the time that the memory unit is being opened. Right now, we have residents over there who need memory services, and they're being managed, but there's not a full program yet. They're expecting to open it as of May. That's the target date.
Okay, thank you.
Brad?
This question relates to something that Mike brought up. The current issue of FLICRA newsletter was very good. And he mentioned a bill in there that's been proposed to count the direct hours of care or service that an individual receives to an average of 3.6 hours per day per month. I think I quoted it correctly. My question is, given our standard license in the healthcare center, what is our number currently for hours of care that an individual has on a monthly basis?
Okay, we have two sides to the house. One is assisted living, the other is skilled nursing. The skilled nursing has a much higher nursing allotment. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but they have nursing care all day long available to them. But on the assisted living side, the requirement is 1 hour per day available to them. The rest of the time it's staff, CNAs and activities staff, and a medical technician.
So we don't know what our number is relative to that number that's proposed in this bill. A minimum of 3.6, I think, is what was proposed. So anyway, that was my question.
For what level of living was it?
Yeah, was that for
This is for skilled nurses.
Yeah, skilled nursing.
Yeah, it wasn't-
Okay, other questions? Gotta be some more questions.
I have a non-question.
What, this is a non-question?
This is an announcement. Our top bocce ball players are hosting a Julington Creek tomorrow in a tournament at 9:45. And we hope all of you get out there and cheer for your team. And we hope we'll win, but we'll have a lot of fun, so. Gee, I'd forgotten about that. No, nothing to drink. But it's a fun game. I have never played it before, and I'm not great at it, but I'm enjoying being a part of the team.
Do you have a mascot?
No.
Or do you have a name?
No. We have t-shirts.
Good deal. All right. Last chance for questions, discussion, announcements. Anything at all? Karen?
I have a question about the opening on the third floor.
1 second.
We can't hardly hear you, Karen.
Sorry. I was hoping Jonathan or one of the maintenance people were here to answer the question, but.
Go ahead.
On the third floor in Building 4, there's an area that they go up into to look at the spigots for those, for the water and all that. Well, it's been open now for probably, 3 weeks. And now the squirrels are going in and out again. I actually saw a hawk the other day sitting on the railing, looking at it like he might take up residence too. So, I don't know, John put a work order in.
I would put it on a work order or send Jonathan an email, which might
He
be
put
quicker.
a work order in and nothing's been done. But, the squirrels up there, they can eat wires, they can start a fire.
It was brought up at our council meeting today about a general squirrel issue,
Yeah,
and Debbie has that for action, so hopefully that will take care of it. So,
okay. Well, they just need to board it up again up there.
Thank you.
That's all, simple.
okay, I saw another hand in back.
Not you, it was somebody else. Was it you?
Is this the right forum to ask for, is there any update on all the extensive planning and thinking that was going into the building plans for the circle, for the Isles of the World?
You're addressing the redevelopment committee. I don't know if you remember my answer last month. Anybody remember the answer last month? When I remember asking.
There is no answer.
I don't remember yesterday.
I gotta tell you, it is a frustration. We have a group of people very interested. They asked us to form it quickly. We did a survey quickly. They said, we'll get back to you very quickly, at least in 6 months. I don't call that quick. And 9 months later, we had a meeting. Okay, that was in October, I think. The answer to your question in one word is no.
No,
It's like, Jim,
no.
it's a frustration because it's like a black hole.
I know what no means.
Yes.
Yes.
So unfortunately, as soon as we have any information, we'll share it with our committee, who will share it with the community. But the first I heard from Brad today is that they actually may have some floor plans, because I asked for a specific floor plan for the new Life Care or Lifelong Learning Center, and the only one we have was the preliminary we saw 9 months ago. And that's the only one that Debbie has.
They're secret.
I guess they're secret. They only a highly classified Marine veteran is allowed to see them. In any case, no. As soon as we know, we'll share it. Believe me. But it has been a source of some frustration. Anything else? Well, I think okay.
This is an announcement. I just want to put Karen's mind at ease. I don't think the bluebirds have been going in that area, but we do have 11 nest boxes this year, which is an increase of 3 over last year. We presently have about 28 eggs. Almost all bluebirds. There are 4 that are chickadee, all in one box.
Good. Well, you know, one thing I'd like to say about this meeting, I'm sure everybody can feel the warmth in this room and the neighborly concern, and it's a great place to live, and thank you all for coming.